I'm putting myself in the shoes of the person who they're very sweet, but always comes out of their mouth like, that person took advantage of me. And I'm not mocking them. I'm just like feeling sorry for them because what is it that they need to learn?
Humans want to be connected with other humans. There's a reason we are born to parents and we're not kicked out of the nest like some birds. Some people can see the people that are desperate for that, or the people that might be lacking in that, or the people that are super trusting without realizing there are people out there with ulterior motives, people that want to do power and control dynamics over them, people that are manipulating others. When our body's giving us those warnings and red flags, there's usually a reason,
Oh my goodness. I think I want to go get a social work degree.
or just have the life experience I've had.
It's definitely a life experience because that's the crux of the issue, Jackie, that, sometimes I'll tell people, I'm not dealing with that person anymore. I don't hate them, but it's just like, I don't want them in my space. People are like, that's wrong. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like a pool with a crocodile. Why do I want to do that?
Exactly. And it's one of the least selfish things you can do. So when people make you feel like you are wrong, like you just said, with, not wanting to spend time with a certain family member or be around a certain group, you saying no to that is self-preservation if that is not your thing. And you're saving your positive energy for the people that need it and deserve it. And it's things we don't learn as kids at a very young age. If school consisted of how to communicate and how to treat others nicer instead of worrying about all these state tests at a young age, we would have less people that are bullying each other, less people that are manipulating people, less people that are scared to death of other humans, because we would all be on equal playing field.
When are you going to develop this curriculum?
Oh, I thought about it for years and years. I've actually been a school counselor and I've been a school board member, so it's very near and dear to my heart. Not all kids are able to be born into homes that understand those communication dynamics, that understand the safety risks. And if we could use those early years of education to really cultivate, this is how you communicate, this is what happens when you're angry, this is what happens if you don't know how to respond, it would make a world of difference. I'm just saying.
I was one of those kids that was like, everybody just be happy with everybody. And at a certain point, I'm like, wait a minute. They're probably around 9, 10, 11, 12. I morphed into this other guy over time, but I was still nice. But I'm like, I'm not dealing with you.
Yeah. And I always thought everybody was as nice as I was. When I got to kindergarten or first grade, I can't remember which year it started, there was this girl that would throw sandburrs at me. I don't know if you have sandburrs where you are, but we get them in like low weeded areas. So, like playgrounds, fields, there'll be like little things they attach to your skin and they're like little prickly things. She would throw them at me and they'd get caught in my hair or on my fingers or on my legs and things like that. And I just still thought she was just the best person in the world. And then in first grade, she dared me to go down a slide. And I'm pretty old here. So this was the slides before there was all those safety mechanisms on them. She dared me to go down to the slide without holding on and to do it where your legs are crossed and your arms are crossed, just assuming you'd go straight. Well, of course, I fell right off the side, broke my arm. Both bones came out of my arm, broken in half. So there were 4 bones sticking out. And I did it for somebody that was throwing things at me. I had to crawl to the school from the slide. She ran. She didn't even go get anybody to help.
Oh my goodness. I just want to pause right there for a second because that happens every day to so many people.
Absolutely. And it happens to grown adults as well.
That's what I'm talking about. My father would say, you become somebody's flunky.
Yeah. It's the coolest thing in the world when you realize your value as a human. Every single one of us has value. It doesn't matter your degree. It doesn't matter your education. It doesn't matter what kind of family you have or don't have. We deserve to thrive. We have to do it because we believe in ourselves, not because somebody else gives us this title or somebody says that we're great. We have to do it because we care enough to be a great human.
Very true. I want to get your advice on something like one thing that's becoming really a plague right now is the mob where there's a ringleader against you and then he gets his little minions to chime in where the day before they liked you, but now they're like giving you a hard time on everything. What is your take on that?
So a couple things. First of all, your safety is number one. So what you may or may not do or say might look different depending on what location you're in, if people have made verbal threats or if there's anything more than just an intimidation aspect. But again, humans want to be liked and they want to not be the one that's being attacked or bullied. So people will tend to gravitate to that mob mentality boss person. That is a scary thought. And if they would just turn that energy into that other person and say, guess what? You are not going to do this to another person. Whether you like that coworker or not, I am not part of this mob. I am not going to treat other people like this. They don't deserve it. Walk away. But if you have low self-confidence, if you are fearful that you're going to be the next one to get picked on, you're going to naturally gravitate to where you feel safest. And they know it feels weird and awkward, but they don't know how to stop it. And that, again, is that lack of self-esteem in those people because they're so scared it's going to happen to them.
When all is said and done, it is a peer pressure thing, isn't it?
And it's a survival of the fittest, if you want to call that. So I would much rather hurt somebody else than have myself be hurt, is what this mob mentality ends up coming out to be. They're probably less fit than the person that's actually getting bullied or being harassed. They're just doing them. They're just being a normal person. They became the target. And the people that are willing to harass that person are some of the least strong people out there. I mean, it takes strength to stand up every day to people, whether or not you're actually talking to them or just going about your daily life. It takes a lot of strength to do that, knowing people might try to intimidate you, treat you like you're nothing, or treat you like you're worse than somebody else. It's nothing to just say a naughty word or a mean word to somebody else. So those people have not half the strength than the person that's actually going about their life, no matter what people are treating them like.
How does the person who is maybe just shocked out of their mind that this is happening, how can they like make their displeasure known or protect themselves? I'm not talking about like physically being threatened, but it's like that emotional, psychological pressure they're getting from these people.
If you're feeling forced into it, or you're feeling like, wow, you're the only one that wants to speak up and nobody's spoke up, why not you? At the end of the day, nobody wants to be called a bully. Bullying is actually a power and control dynamic of you trying to manipulate another human. And if you fall for it and start manipulating or start bullying with them, you are actually being played by that bully. I mean, you are literally being played. How are you going to feel in the next couple days, weeks, months when you realize what you were actually doing and what you were involved in?
That thing, Jackie, I see people years later who were like part of mobs, and then they're just all sheepish around me later. It's not like I'm socializing with them. I just run into them, but they make me sick when I see them, because it's like, there's no apology. I'm not looking for one, but it's just like, they just like act like nothing ever happened, but they have the battle scars I left on them.
Yes. And they are usually the ones that end up having relationship issues and issues with their children and issues at work. But if you don't at least say, yes, I was somebody harassed this person back in school, I harassed this person at the workplace. If you can't acknowledge that, you start basically lying to yourself. And that's when your world starts to crumble. I mean, think about the people back in the school days, those people that were not very nice. Think about some of their lives now as we're older. It's like, even if they look like they're driving the cool car or they have the cool job, there is some not good stuff going on.
So now I want to look at the other side of that coin a little bit with you too, and your insight. One of the things that often plays out sadly is like victims of bullying, they start to experience to some degree the disintegration of their households in a different way. And all they were doing was minding their business. And then sometimes their spouse may even like become part of the problem.
I am super focused on suicide prevention and suicide awareness. And too many times people that contemplate suicide, or if they complete, it's because they went to people and they haven't had the response they anticipated. And it doesn't mean that we're all bad people. It just means we do need to listen to people's words just a little bit more. And if we are not competent and we are not comfortable talking about some of those tough things, it's okay to say, hey, can I help refer you to somebody? Hey, this isn't my area, but I want you to be heard. Let's call a counselor. Let's call this prevention number. Let's find a support network that's going to walk alongside you, because you do not deserve to be treated like this, even if I don't know how to make it better for you.
Yeah. And you keep going back to that great illustration of walking along beside. It seems like that's your mantra.
We're only going home with ourselves. We're climbing in bed with ourselves. No matter if we got a partner or not, our brain is our own brain. We wake up with it the next day. If I tell you everything to do to solve your problems, if I make all the bullies walk away from you, what's going to happen tomorrow when I'm not there by your side? So walking alongside you gets you the tools, but lets you know you are not alone.
Right. That's the whole purpose of this podcast series. It's like, Do I feel like doing this? No, not really, but I know it's needed.
The tough stuff is needed more often than not, isn't it?